Alright guys, welcome back to Underground Science, and in this video we'll go over the basic overview over an Arrhenius base and an Arrhenius acid. Alright, so pretty much our Arrhenius base is any base that gives rise to hydroxyl groups, okay, in solution. And an Arrhenius acid is any acid that gives rise to hydrogen cations or hydronium cations in a solution. Alright, so in a reaction. So let's go ahead and see that. Okay, so one example of an Arrhenius base that's pretty familiar, hopefully it's familiar, is that sodium hydroxide. Alright, so sodium hydroxide is a strong base, and we see that whenever we react it with water, right, in solution in water, we see that it dissociates, or doesn't dissociate, but it reacts and it turns into an OH, or a hydroxyl group, and water. Alright. And the way we know that is because, again, we can identify a Bronzolari acid and Bronzolari base. Make sure to go check out that video if you haven't already, that I uploaded. So to see which ones are Bronzolari base, we see which compound in the reactant side accepts a hydrogen cation. And we see that it's actually going to be this sodium hydroxide here that's going to accept a hydrogen cation, becoming water right here on the product side. And because the H2O will lose a hydrogen cation, it's going to become a hydroxyl group, making it a basic solution or an alkaline solution. And then we can't forget about our sodium. All right, so our sodium is going to be right here. So we're going to pretty much, in an Arrhenius base, if you have to identify an Arrhenius base, we know that sodium hydroxide is going to be an Arrhenius base because an Arrhenius base means that we're going to produce OH, or hydroxyl groups, in solution. And we do. We produce hydroxyl groups here, and then we produce some sodium also, and a little water. All right? So that's pretty much an Arrhenius base, if you have to identify that. And an Arrhenius acid is pretty much the opposite. You produce hydronium ions in solution. So if we looked at HCl plus water, we would see that we get hydronium ions in solution and then chloride anions in solution. All right, so again, our HCl is an Arrhenius acid because it produces hydronium ions in solution, and that's the definition of an Arrhenius acid. All right, so let's go and write that down. So an Arrhenius base, is a base, right, that produces hydroxyl groups, right, hydroxyl groups in solution. All right, so that's an Arrhenius base, and we see that here with sodium hydroxide. All right, and an Arrhenius acid, so let's go and write that in a different color, blue is good. An Arrhenius acid is an acid that produces, sorry about that random dot, that produces hydronium cations in solution, or you could also say just hydrogen cations in solution. All right, so again, when we have an Arrhenius base, you can identify that. Just look at if it produces OH groups or not. And if we, in the solution, right, in the product side, and if we have an Arrhenius acid, just look at if it produces hydronium cations or H plus cations also in solutions. That way you know it's an acidic solution. All right, so that's the basic overview of what an Arrhenius base and then what an Arrhenius acid is. And I hope this video made sense to you guys. I hope you guys tune into my future videos. I'll talk about more cool topics about biochem, physics, and chem. So I really hope to see you guys there. Make sure to hit that notification bell and like and subscribe, and see you guys later, and stay safe.